Did you know that the colored squares on toothpaste tubes aren't magic? You've probably noticed the small colored squares at the end of toothpaste tubes. Some people believe that these colored markings indicate the product's composition, whether it's natural or chemical. But the truth is, that's just a myth. These marks, which can be black, blue, red, or green, are known as eye marks and serve purely technical purposes. They help machines on the production line correctly orient the tube for packaging and labeling. These marks contain no information about the toothpaste's ingredients or quality, so next time you see such a mark, you'll know it's just a technical detail, not a sign of some mysterious chemical composition. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? Surprisingly, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This cosmic fact highlights the unimaginable vastness of our universe. When you look at the night sky, there are billions and billions of stars, each potentially home to planets we know nothing about yet. Our place in the cosmos feels even more humbling when you realize that stars fill the space far beyond what we can even imagine. Did you know that in France there's a house with a negative number? In the town of Rocamadour, France, you can find a house numbered -1. This building was constructed under a cliff below street level. When the other houses were numbered, the ground-level houses were already given 0 and 1. This unusual designation has now become a local landmark and a curiosity for tourists. After all, it's not every day you see a house with a negative number. Did you know one lightning strike could toast 100,000 slices of bread? A single lightning strike can generate enough energy to toast about 100,000 slices of bread. This figure highlights the colossal power of lightning and its ability to generate incredible amounts of energy in just fractions of a second. Next time you see lightning, imagine how powerful nature is, not only booming thunderously, but also capable of powering an entire electric grid. Nature continues to astonish with its immense potential. Did you know the shape of Pringles chips is a mathematical masterpiece? When you enjoy crispy Pringles chips, you probably don't think about how their shape wasn't created by chance. This shape is called a hyperbolic paraboloid, and it allows the chips to resist breaking as easily as regular potato slices. Moreover, this geometric design is perfect for stacking chips neatly in their iconic cylindrical can. So, these chips are not only delicious, but also a true work of mathematical art. Contrary to everything, dark matter is actually invisible. Dark matter doesn't interact with light, so it cannot be seen directly. However, scientists know about its existence through indirect signs. It affects the rotation speed of galaxies and bends light around them. This mysterious substance makes up more than 80% of the universe's mass, but it remains one of the biggest mysteries of modern space science. Eyes bigger than the brain. The amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are. Large eyes but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints, or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. Did you know that kangaroos can't jump backward? Kangaroos can easily leap up to 12 meters forward, but they're entirely unable to move backward. Their long and powerful tails provide balance, but also prevent backward propulsion. This limitation is due to the unique structure of their legs, which are solely adapted for forward jumping. Kangaroos are true masters of one-way leaping. Penicillin was discovered by accident, and it saved millions of lives. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to his laboratory and noticed that one of his Petri dishes, infected with bacteria, was covered in mold. He was amazed to find that bacteria were not growing around the mold. This was the beginning of the discovery of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, which completely transformed medicine and saved countless lives. A chance discovery became one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet. What if I told you there are floating markets in some countries? In Thailand and Vietnam, you can find markets located right on the water. Traders sell fruits, vegetables, and souvenirs from small boats, creating an amazing and colorful scene. These markets are located along canals where people can literally paddle up to the goods they want. This unique tradition attracts tourists from all over the world, allowing them to immerse themselves in the local culture and trading atmosphere. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. Why hasn't Ireland's population recovered 160 years after the famine? Imagine a country unable to fully recover its population for more than a century and a half. That's precisely what happened to Ireland after the Great Potato Famine of the mid-19th century. The famine, caused by crop failures, led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands and the mass emigration of millions of Irish people around the world. Even today, 160 years later, Ireland's population is still 2 million less than it was before this tragedy. This incredible demographic puzzle remains a testament to the devastating impact of those events. Imagine a hybrid of a cow and a bison. It's a beefalo. Yes, there exists a unique hybrid of a cow and a bison called a beefalo. These animals combine the traits of both cows and bison, and they are known for their impressive hardiness. Beefalos can be found in certain regions of the United States, where they have become agricultural stars. They are bred as a more resilient alternative to traditional livestock, being better suited to harsh conditions. Imagine, you're on a stroll and come across this amazing creature that looks like a mix of the majesty of a wild bison and the domesticity of a cow. A true wonder of nature, brought to life by genetic experimentation. Can you imagine? Flamingos aren't born pink. Baby flamingos come into the world with grayish-white feathers. They develop their signature pink hue only after they start feeding on brine shrimp and blue-green algae. These colorful foods contain pigments called carotenoids, which gradually turn their feathers pink. It's a vivid transformation that turns these elegant birds into the beautiful pink creatures we adore. So, the next time you see a flamingo, remember, their color is all thanks to their diet. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. The world's shiniest fruit. Meet the African Pollia. Believe it or not, the shiniest living organism on Earth is not a gemstone or an exotic animal, but the African fruit Pollia condensata. This vibrant blue fruit with an iridescent sheen has a unique ability to reflect light. Its outer surface reflects light so intensely that it appears to glow from within. Scientists are studying this phenomenon to better understand how such a structure can be created in nature. This fruit has become a true mystery for botanists because its glow is caused by microscopic cell structures that reflect light like diamonds. No wonder it's considered one of the shiniest things on Earth. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3rd, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery. The world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year. Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its year, its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the Sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Can you imagine there's a bridge in Sweden that goes underwater? In Sweden, there is a unique bridge called the Öresund Bridge, which connects the country to Denmark. This bridge suddenly ends and dives underwater, turning into a tunnel. This engineering marvel was designed to avoid interfering with sea traffic. Driving from Sweden to Denmark gives the feeling that you're diving into the sea right in your car, adding an exciting element to the journey. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. Can you imagine that in Colorado, there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen eternal resident. Why are towers in the desert built so tall? In the UAE and other desert regions, modern skyscrapers are not just built high for beauty, but to minimize the impact of heat. At great heights, temperatures are cooler, which helps save on cooling costs. Additionally, tall buildings provide maximum shade to surrounding areas. This unique design solution allows desert cities to counteract extreme climates, creating an oasis of coolness right in the middle of the desert. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Why do snails bury themselves in the ground? The snails we often see after rain don't just dig into the soil for fun. It's their way of surviving extreme conditions. When it gets too hot or dry, snails create a special mucus plug to retain moisture in their bodies and bury themselves to endure the dry periods. This process, called estivation, is a type of summer hibernation that allows snails to survive harsh seasons. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Did you know that in Egypt, there is an ancient lighthouse that has been working for over 2,000 years? The lighthouse in Alexandria is one of the oldest structures still performing its function. It was built in the 3rd century BC and serves as an important navigation point for sailors. Although the original tower was destroyed by earthquakes, its reconstruction in later centuries allowed the lighthouse to remain operational. This lighthouse is not only a symbol of ancient technology, but also a testament to engineering mastery that has stood the test of time. The elephant trunk trick. 40,000 muscles in one nose. Yes, you read that right. An elephant's trunk contains about 40,000 muscles. That's more than the entire human body, and this is why an elephant's trunk is so incredibly versatile. With it, elephants can lift heavy branches, gently pick berries, drink water, make sounds, and even caress their young. But did you know that young elephants often suck on their trunks, just like children suck their thumbs? It helps them feel calm and secure, a true wonder of nature. Such a complex and multifunctional organ like the elephant's trunk. Lakes underwater? Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They are called brine pools, or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them, adapted to these extreme conditions. This is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? Did you know that sea cucumbers eject their insides to survive? Sea cucumbers are true masters of survival, and their methods might surprise you. When these unusual creatures face predators, they can literally expel their internal organs. This extreme defense mechanism distracts the predator while the sea cucumber escapes. But don't worry. After a while, the sea cucumber regenerates its organs as if nothing had happened. This unusual survival mechanism allows them to thrive in the harshest marine environments, showing that nature sometimes finds very unexpected solutions. Photography, the art of stopping time. The ability to capture a moment on paper may seem like magic, but today it's a part of our everyday lives. The history of photography is filled with fascinating facts. The first attempts to freeze an image were made in the early 1800s by Thomas Wedgwood, but without success. Modern photography, as we know it today, became possible thanks to the experiments of pioneers like Joseph Nicephore Niepce and William Henry Fox Talbot. Their innovations forever changed the way we preserve and share memories. Did you know that olive oil can help fight cancer? Extra virgin olive oil contains an incredible compound called oleocanthal, which has the remarkable ability to destroy cancer cells without harming healthy ones. This natural wonder shows how food can act as medicine, offering a gentle yet powerful defense against cancer. Oleocanthal targets cancer cells at a molecular level, making olive oil a potential ally in the fight against various cancers. So, next time you enjoy olive oil, remember that it's not just a tasty ingredient, but also a natural healer. Believe it or not, lasers can actually cool objects. While lasers are typically associated with heat, there are special lasers that can cool objects down to ultra-low temperatures. This process, called laser cooling, is used to reach temperatures near absolute zero. These technologies play a key role in quantum physics and are used in experiments with atoms and particles, leading to groundbreaking discoveries in science. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Camels, the giants of the desert. Despite popular belief, camels didn't always live in deserts. They originally descended from ancient animals that roamed the forests of North America around 30 million years ago. Over time, they migrated to Africa and Asia, where their humps became an adaptation for surviving in hot climates. These humps, filled with fat, allow camels to go without water for up to 2 weeks. They can drink up to 50 liters of water at once, making them masters of survival in environments where other creatures would perish. Camels remain a vital part of life for many desert communities. Why are soap bubbles always round? The answer to this question is simple, but quite fascinating. Soap bubbles take on a round shape because it is the most stable and energy-efficient form for holding air inside. When you blow a bubble, the soap film naturally tries to distribute the surface tension evenly. A spherical shape is ideal because it minimizes the surface area, which helps the bubble maintain its structure. Although bubbles can take on other shapes if blown through specific devices or confined spaces, in free flight, they always return to their natural spherical form. It's an example of how the laws of physics manifest in even the simplest things, like soap bubbles. How would you like to visit the world's most isolated island? Tristan da Cunha is the world's most remote inhabited island, located in the southern Atlantic Ocean. It lies about 2,400 kilometers from the nearest mainland. Around 260 people live on the island, most of whom are descendants of British settlers and shipwreck survivors. Tristan da Cunha has no airports, hotels, or restaurants, and the only way to reach it is by boat, on a 6-day journey from South Africa. What do kangaroos really need such big tails for? These huge tails not only provide balance, but also serve as a fifth leg. When walking, kangaroos lean on their tails, allowing their hind legs to move faster and with less strain. During jumps, the tail helps them maintain equilibrium, and at high speeds, it serves as a stabilizer. Scientists believe that without such a tail, kangaroos wouldn't be able to make their famous 10-meter leaps forward. It's a true multi-tool for these amazing Australian marsupials. Greenland shark, the longest living creature of the ocean, 500 years of life. Believe it or not, Greenland sharks can live up to 500 years. These ancient inhabitants of the cold waters of the North Atlantic are among the longest living vertebrates on Earth. Scientists have determined the age of sharks by studying the lenses of their eyes, which accumulate layers over time, much like the rings on a tree. Some of these sharks were born before the Renaissance. This incredible fact highlights how fascinating and underexplored the underwater world is. Imagine, the oldest sharks may have been swimming in the ocean when the first pyramids were being built. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away: bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Did you know that there are hotels in Japan run by robots? In Japan, there is a hotel chain called Henna Hotel, where guests are served by robots. Robots can greet visitors, check them in, and even deliver their luggage to their rooms. In some cases, cleaning and room service are also handled by machines. This innovative approach brings a futuristic feel to hospitality, making Japan one of the leaders in robotic service. And although it sounds like the future, you can experience this today. Surprisingly, some snakes have vestigial legs. Yes, certain snake species like boas and pythons still possess tiny vestigial legs, called spurs, near their tails. These remnants are the evolutionary leftovers from when snakes' ancestors had fully formed limbs millions of years ago. Over time, as snakes adapted to a slithering lifestyle, they lost the need for legs. But these little spurs remain as a fascinating window into the ancient past of these reptiles. It's like carrying a little piece of history on their bodies, reminding us that evolution is full of surprises. Hard to believe, but there's a flying snake in Africa. In Africa, there's a snake known as the tree glider that can move from branch to branch, almost as if it's flying. It flattens its body and uses it as a parachute, covering distances of up to 20 meters in the air. These snakes use their flight abilities to escape predators and quickly move between trees. They look like creatures from a sci-fi movie, but this is the reality of the wild, where anything is possible. Did you know that crocodiles can digest metal objects? A crocodile's stomach is a powerhouse of digestion. It produces one of the strongest acids in the animal kingdom, capable of breaking down bones and even metal. This trait is especially handy when crocodiles swallow stones to regulate their weight or accidentally ingest metal objects like fishing hooks or nails. This incredible digestive power ensures that they can thrive in the wild by consuming almost anything that comes their way. So, if a crocodile accidentally swallows something metal, it has no problem making a meal out of it. Believe it or not, the longest earthquake lasted 10 minutes. In 1960, Chile experienced the longest earthquake ever recorded, lasting an astonishing 10 minutes. This seismic event, caused by massive geological forces, triggered devastating tsunamis that even reached the shores of Japan. The earthquake left behind not only physical damage but also a deep impact on our understanding of tectonic activity and its influence on Earth's surface. It demonstrated the incredible power of the planet and the constant movement of its layers, reminding us that Earth is never truly still.